What if I told you there was one lens that would single-handedly double the quality of your work while also making your crush extremely attracted to you? Well, that doesn't exist, but the Sigma 85mm f1.4 art lens is really cool, so let's just talk about that. It's gonna be hard to record me opening my LaCroix this time. 85mm is a focal length that I've stayed away from for a long time for some reason. I guess it's just because I've always had zoom lenses that have covered that focal length, and I never saw the need to add an 85 to my kit. But I've since changed my mind and come around to it, obviously because I'm filming this video with an 85. And I love it. The most typical use case we see the 85mm used in is portrait photography, which I do just about none of. So why did I buy this Sigma 85mm 1.4? You might be asking. You might not also, but gonna tell you anyway. So I stumbled upon this photographer named Monaris, and she's insanely freaking talented with street photography, just visuals in general. She's amazing. Highly recommend following her on Instagram. It's a treat. And I saw that she was using an 85 for a lot of her street photography. And usually with classic street photography, you see people using anything from 28mm to about 40 because it's the challenge of kind of getting up in people's business and capturing life in that up in your face kind of a style, which is really cool. But it's also been nice to see newer trends on YouTube and Instagram of street photographers trying different focal lengths and getting completely different looks. And so when I saw Monaris's photos with the 85, I was blown away, and I had to get this lens to try it for myself. As a Sony simp myself, I have purchased the E-mount version of this lens, obviously, but what's cool about the Sigma is you can get it for a wide range of different camera mounts, and I wasn't about to drop G-Master prices on an 85. I just can't afford it. So I went with the Sigma, and I've been absolutely blown away. And I've also learned that this lens isn't just good for portraits or street photography. You can use this thing for anything. And since I've used this lens for quite a while now, I think it's probably been about 6 months, I just wanted to share this with you guys because I'm so pumped on the lens. And it's great because it's good for filmmaking, 2016 epic B-roll montages on YouTube, other stuff, or I guess talking heads like this for really cool YouTube videos by me. Let's start by talking about the pros. The first thing is the autofocus, and it's actually super good for photography. Even in a street setting, I was getting really snappy, clean, sharp photos with this lens, even shooting wide open. And surprisingly, the autofocus is also really solid in video on this Sony system, at least. I don't know about using it with other cameras, but if you're shooting with Sony, I can say that it's really good. And also, I just wanted to share my autofocus settings that I use with my Sigma lenses. I have this 85, obviously, and then I also have the 24-70 2.8 Sigma Art. And these autofocus settings work really well for both of these lenses. I'm just gonna read it off of my phone. In your autofocus and manual focus settings on your camera, I have both the AF transition speed and the AF subject shift sensitivity set to 5. So they're both set to 5, and that has given me the most optimal, smooth autofocus settings. It doesn't look jumpy and crazy like some other camera systems out there. It's really nice and smooth. With some of the other settings where I had the locking set to a little bit looser, it would just kind of hunt a little bit, or it would jolt to the background. And basically these settings, 5 and 5, it's easy to remember, and it's just nice and smooth. I think it's the most natural I could get out of my A7S III. I've been using Sigma lenses for a really long time, and I haven't been let down a single time. The Art series just continues to blow me away with how affordable it is and how freaking sharp everything looks, even at the wide open apertures like 1.4 on this lens. Right now I have an 8th Pro Mist on, and that's another thing I like about the Sigmas is it gives you this really sharp, clean look out of the box, but you can always soften that with filters or in your editing software, which is fun because you can't really add too much sharpness to your images without it starting to look kind of crappy. So yeah. Okay, if you're a fan of shallow depth of field, like, I mean, just admit it. I'm admitting it here in public on the internet. It's burned into the ether for all of eternity. I'm a sucker for some depth of field, baby. DOF, it's mine. And this lens will not let you down. It is creamy nation. The bokeh is just absolutely beautiful. and it's a cozy look. The build quality and the design is another huge pro for me. This thing isn't weatherproof, but it is weather sealed, I think. Is that right, editor me? And what's cool about this version of the 85 1.4, which isn't brand new, I'm late to the game on reviewing it, but I wanted to, you know, put some real time into it. This version is a lot more compact than the older Sigma Art 85mm. It's smaller, lighter, but it's still just beautiful in the images it creates. And it's great because you can carry it around in your kit and you're not like getting lumps on your shoulders or anything from a huge weight. One of the best features of this lens is it has a Fuji style aperture ring. And it's not only that, it also has a D-click setting, so you can just have it be kind of like a cine lens aperture, which is totally smooth, or you can set it to click, and it has an aperture lock, so you can kind of click it or smoothly set it to where you want it.
Click it or tick it. It's Kansas law.
And then hit the lock and it will stay at that aperture. Or you can just control the aperture with the dials on your camera and it will work electronically too. So it just gives you all these options, but they're not distracting because you can just choose the one you like, shoot how you want to. They really made this lens cater to tons of different styles of shooting, which I'm a huge fan of. Like, let's just make all lenses that way. It's really cool. And by let's, I mean all the camera companies. I will not be making lenses. And then the last thing I'll say in the pros section of this video is it does have a programmable side custom button on the lens, very similar to the Sony lenses. So you can set this to whatever you want in your Sony menus. I don't know about other camera systems because I can't afford to own all of them. But with Sony's, you can set it up how you want, and it's just a nice extra feature. Okay. Are you ready for my cons list? There's only 2 things, okay? First con is the minimum focus distance. It's not super close, and I'm used to having Sigma lenses with a really close minimum focus, which is awesome because you can get these macro style shots without investing in a macro lens. But I understand 85mm, it's harder to get the minimum focus set up because it's a longer focal length. It's borderline telephoto, kids. Here's my thoughts on the whole situation, okay? This is serious business. First thing, if you're a Sony shooter like me, I still don't see the need to invest in G-mastered lenses. I've been using the Sigma Art lenses for a couple years now, and I have good autofocus performance even when I'm shooting kind of like run and gun style, and the image quality is just freaking gorgeous, and they're like half the price. I don't get it. I mean, I guess maybe it's a label thing or just people like native lenses to the same brand. I really don't know. Everything about the Sigma is way more appealing to me than spending shitloads of money on G-Masters. You won't be catching me doing that anytime soon unless Sony sends me something, which I don't see happening soon, but I'm open to it. But even if you aren't a Sony shooter, I would highly recommend checking out the Sigma 85mm f1.4 and just see if it works with your camera mount, because this lens is absolutely beautiful. It's not too crazy expensive. And if you're doing portraits or YouTube B-roll montages epically, what more could you want in this little world we call life, you know? Subscribe if you want to, and don't if you don't want to. Join my Discord if you want to talk to a bunch of cool internet people. We share our work in there because Instagram sucks. We talk about everything, mental health, cameras, life. It's super fun. We have almost 600 members in there. There's so many good people from around the globe. So feel free to join our little internet family if you're interested in that. Follow me on Instagram, even though I said it sucks, because sometimes I post funny stories. And make sure to text me when you get home, because I really need to know that you're safe. So just send me a little text. It doesn't take long to say, hey, I made it home. I love you so much. Thank you for watching this video. And happy hunting with your lenses. Don't make bad purchasing decisions, but there are links below. Have a good one.